Hi there friends, it's Haley. Sorry if my voice is a little rough today. I've been sick and I thought about putting off filming, but I just couldn't wait any longer. Today I figured I would finish out the year with sort of a storytelling video and showing off one of my proudest collections, although it is humble, which is my signed book collection. In the past I haven't looked to get very many of my books signed. It wasn't really a priority of mine, but ever since I started writing myself and ever since I got more into collecting books and being very serious about it, I have found that I really like to get my books signed and I love to meet the authors if possible. Even if I just find books that are signed, I'll definitely buy them if it's somebody that I care about or a book that I care about, and that's how I've gotten a lot of these, but I figured I would go into a quick story time as to how I got most of my books signed. The first two books I got signed are The Red Pyramid and Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan. These are the first two books in the Kane Chronicles trilogy, or his Egyptian mythology trilogy, and I really loved both of them. My mom actually got these signed for me. I think one was my mom and one was my grandma. I think they were both birthday presents. So unfortunately, I've actually never met Rick Riordan. I've literally had a dream that I met him, but I haven't ever met him in person. My family got these signed for me, but I really love them anyway, and I cherish that I got these signed, that he has signed these books. I think that's really, really cool, and I do enjoy this trilogy. It's not maybe my favorite. I think I still prefer the Percy Jackson books, and one day I hope to get them signed. But I'm gonna have to wait on that for a little bit because it doesn't seem like he has any events booked here anytime soon. The next signed book I added to my collection was a complete surprise and I was so thrilled to find it, and that is Croak by Gina D'Amico. Croak is one of my favorite trilogies of all time, one of my favorite series of all time. If you have no idea what it's about, it is about a 17-year-old girl named Lex who has extreme behavioral issues, and she is taken by her uncle to go live with him upstate, I think. I think they're from New York. I don't remember. And she quickly realizes that everything is not as it seems in her uncle's life, and that she and her uncle and everybody else living in this town called Croak are Grim Reapers, and they help people die, and it's just a really, I don't know, it's super creative. It's one of the funniest books I've ever read. It's so sweet and so... just read it. Just read it. It's really cute. This one I have reread a couple of times. I've never reread the whole series. I'm just not ready to cry like that again. But it's definitely worth the read. And I was so happy to find a signed edition at my local half-price bookstore. And inside, Gina D'Amico wrote "Happy Reaping" and crossed it out and put "reading." She's adorable. I love her a lot. So this is definitely one that you should read, that I would highly, highly recommend. Like I said, it's one of my favorite books I've ever read, so give that one a read if you've got the chance. The next book in my signed book collection is Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. Now, if you've already seen my other videos, you know this is one of those books that I've bought but have not read and have been putting off for a very long time, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm not, you know? And I was just really surprised to find signed editions of these, and I didn't get the other two since I just didn't have that kind of money, but this one was signed by her for someone else, but alas, it's how it happens, and I was really excited to get her signature. Someday I would love to have her sign my Six of Crows duology, but for now, this is pretty rad. And when I get around to reading it, I'll know that it's really cool that she's touched this book and that somebody else has enjoyed this book, and I'm just excited. The next few books on this list I got signed all in the same place, and that was at the Texas Book Festival of this year. I had never heard of the Texas Book Festival before this year, and I was thrilled to find out that it was pretty close to me, and so I actually got to go this year, and luckily I got to meet four great authors in one fell swoop. One of them, I have not read her book yet, but the other three I was so excited to meet. I was such a big fan of their work to begin with, and it was such an honor to meet them all, so let me get into those. The first of those books is Furyborn by Claire Legrand. Now this book I was a little wary about going in. It has one of the most killer prologues of all time. I'm serious. If you read this book for no other reason than the prologue, that's a good enough reason. It's the first, I don't know, 50 pages or so are one of the most fast-paced, whirlwind, action-packed sequences ever, and it's just an incredible start to the book. It does slack off a little bit after that, and I've had some problems connecting to the main characters. I think part of my problem is one of the main characters reminds me a lot of Aelin from the Throne of Glass series, and while I'm changing my mind on that series and I'm liking it the more I read it, the more trouble I had relating to that character because she was so like this character I was trying to avoid at the time, if that makes any sense. But I ended up really liking this book. I'm super excited for the next one, and I was so excited to get to meet her because I'm telling you guys, Claire Legrand is a great person. She's so down to earth and funny and sweet, and in this book she wrote "Burn clean and burn bright," which is a line from the book, and I'm telling you, she was a great person. I really enjoyed meeting her. I would love to meet her again. I would love to work with her one day. She's really cool, and she's got a lot of really interesting ideas about writing and getting inspired to write, and I found her really encouraging. The next book I got signed at the Texas Book Festival I've already talked about, and that's Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. I got to meet her at the same panel that I met Claire Legrand, and she was so cool. She's so funny. She's so sweet. She was just a real joy to talk to. I made an utter fool of myself in front of her, which was awesome, because she was talking about in her panel that in college she took German, and I was like, why on earth did you take German? But as you know from my other videos, I also took German in college, and it was a crowded tent. It was loud. It was so hot. I was so emotional and overwhelmed at getting to meet these really awesome authors. And so she started speaking German to me, and I looked at her like she was speaking Mandarin. It was real bad. If she ever sees this, Entschuldigung, ich liebe dich. You were great, and I'm sorry. One of the cool things about Ngozi's signing is she gave us all a little doodle. So I have a little biddle on my first page, and he's really cute. So I was really glad to get this book signed. The next book I got signed all at the same panel, it was a killer panel, is Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This is the only one I haven't read yet. I've been putting it off a little bit because I just haven't been in the mood for contemporary romance, but as soon as I'm back in that mood, you know I'm going to be on this, so that's probably going to be sometime in February when Valentine's Day is making me sad. On the inside, it kind of looks like she signed it for somebody else. I did tell her my name, but like I said, crowded, hot, busy tent, so it's fine. But she wrote Tell Your Story because my mom was there with me, and she got to marry H.K. Choi before I did, and she started telling everyone that I write, which was kind of embarrassing. I do write, obviously, but it was a little weird. It'd be like meeting Van Gogh or something, and your mom's like, oh, my daughter paints. So anyway, but she was really sweet about it, and she was nice, and she told me that I just need to get to it, which is something I already know, but she was right. I need to listen to her. So I'm really excited to get around to reading this book. To my understanding, what it's about is two teenagers who fall in love over text, and I think that's really sweet. I think that's really good, and for somebody who has social anxiety, that's the dream, isn't it? So I'm excited to get to this one. The last book I got signed at the Texas Book Festival was Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I have not talked about this book yet, but everybody else has. And take their word for it, if not mine, that this is an incredible book. She is a great writer, and she will make you feel things you did not think you could feel for book characters. I hated them. I loved them. I cherished them. I want to hold them. I just really want more of this series, and I'm so looking forward to the second book. But so Tomi Adeyemi made me cry when I got her signature because she was in quite a bit of a rush. She was trying to catch a flight. At first she said she wasn't going to personalize, and then she kind of took that decision back as we only had a few people, and so she started personalizing books instead, and I actually did get a minute to talk to her. And this time I sort of tripped myself up into saying that I write, into telling her that I want to be published. And so she had already written in here, she had already signed in gold Sharpie, which I'm sure it's kind of hard to see on camera, but she had already signed in gold Sharpie for me on this page. And then I told her that, and I told her that I had just been nervous about trying to actually make the publishing journey and actually put my work out there. And so she flipped back and signed it again and wrote, "Please sign one for me one day," which left me in tears. You guys don't understand, Tomi Adeyemi is incredibly gifted. She is a fantastic writer, a wonderful person. She is just everything a writer should want to be, especially in the YA genre. And getting to meet her and getting her encouragement just meant like the world to me. So you bet your butt I'm going to sign a copy for Tell Me How to Get Me, and whether I ever meet her again or not, I am going to make sure I'm always following her work, and I will always remember that she was one of the first authors ever to encourage me to write, along with Mary H.K. Choi. The next few books that I got signed are all things that I found at local bookstores, and normally I don't just pick up books because they're pretty or because they're new, but some of these were new and pretty and signed, so I had to do it. And the first one is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. Unfortunately, I have not read any of the Ember in the Ashes series yet. Hannah at Clockwork Reads talks about these all the time, and I trust her opinion on everything that she reads because she is incredible and has great taste. And I want to get to these so badly, but I have the first one and not the second one, and then I have this one, and they're in different formats, which is very frustrating. And I've just got so much else on my plate that I haven't gotten around to reading these, but I know once I do, I'm going to love these so much. I happened across this at half price, and I had to pick it up. I'm always so excited when they have signed copies of things, and this is just such a nice book. I'm really excited to get to it. I just need to make the time. The next book I found signed at half price is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I am such a big fan of both of these people. I haven't actually read anything of Adam Silvera's yet, but his imagination when it comes to contemporary writing is just unparalleled. I don't think, well, I've only read excerpts of his stuff, but I don't think I've read such innovative ideas in contemporary romance literature in a really long time. So I'm really excited to see what his writing is like. And then of Becky Albertalli's work, I've only read Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which I loved. I loved the movie too. I thought it was great. And both of these authors as people are just great, and I've been looking forward to this book for several months. Again, I'm not really in the mood for contemporary romance, so I've been saving it a little bit until I am in the mood, because I know that when I'm ready to read this book, I'm so ready to read it, and I'm really excited for what it's going to be for me and how much I'm going to enjoy it. So both of them signed it on the front page, and both of their signatures are really cool, and I'm really excited to get it to this book eventually. This book is not necessarily new, but I did find it recently, so it's kind of new to me. And that is Watcher in the Woods by Robert Leporello. I actually did read, where is it? I read House of Dark Shadows, which is the first book in his Dream House Kings series, but I never found the second one, so I never kept reading it, which is dumb. I probably should have gone to a library or like just looked to see if anybody online had it, but I admit I kind of forgot about the series after a while, but it's really good. I have to admit I don't remember anything about it. It's one of those series where if I get back into it, I'm gonna have to read the first book again just to refresh myself. What I thought I remembered about these books, I was wrong about, so I kind of don't remember at all what these are about. I just know that I really enjoyed the first one, and I'm hoping I really enjoy the second one, and if I do, I'll definitely be picking up the rest. But this one just happened to be signed, and it's an exclusive Scholastic edition, and I thought it was really cool, so I bought it anyway, especially since it was still in pretty good shape. And I'm excited to get back to the series eventually. I don't know how long it'll take me, but one day. And the last book for now in my signed book collection is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the third book, I believe, in the Dark Artifices series. Maybe it's the last. I don't know anything about this series. As I've already talked about, it's been a long time since I read any of the Mortal Instruments series, and I never got around to the Infernal Devices series. But that being said, I am intrigued by Cassandra Clare's world. I think that her writing has been steadily getting better since she started, and I know that so many people are such a big fan of her books and her as an author and this series that I needed to get it when I saw that it was signed. This is a brick of a book, guys. Like, this is huge. I don't know how many pages this is, and I'm not going to count yet because I don't want it to intimidate me even more than it already has. But I mean, we're talking like Victor Hugo length here. This is longer, I think, than Kingdom of Ash, and I was already intimidated by that one, so when I get around to this one, it's gonna take me a while. I know Emma on Emmmabooks and Hannah of A Clockwork Reader have already gotten through all of this, and I admire them and respect them greatly. But I know it'll take me a little bit longer to get to it, especially since there are lots of other books of Cassandra Clare's that I haven't gotten through yet. And I don't know exactly what order everything needs to be in yet to read this series, so I'll definitely have to come back when I actually know what that order is. So that's it for my signed book collection. Sorry if the stories weren't really great stories. I haven't had very many stories of meeting authors yet. I hope to have more in the future, but I just think it's really, really cool to have authors leave their mark on their books that I'm reading, and it gives me hope that one day I can do the same for other people. It's just really cool to have that level of personal interaction with somebody who has given you a world to run around in and enjoy, and I'm just really glad to have met these people, or to know that they actually do exist and these aren't just being computer generated or something. So thank you guys so much for watching. I won't be back with another video until probably closer to New Year's, but I hope you all have a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas if that's what you celebrate, and everything else that you celebrate. I hope you have a great time with family and friends and food and presents, or no presents if you don't do presents. I just hope you have a great time, and I will see you in about a week. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you're new, like the video if you thought this was interesting, and tell me if you have any signed books. Have you met any authors, and what was your favorite author experience? Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!